Okay, paper 2 writing, which is non-fiction. It's a 2-hour exam. If you have 25% extra time, give yourself an extra half an hour. So the reading and writing are both an hour, both worth the same. They're both worth 40 marks. You need 2 documents to write in an hour. Each piece should take 25 minutes, and then you've got 10 minutes to plan and also check your work afterwards. Like I said, they're 20 marks each. It's 12 marks for content and 8 for SPAG. Here are the 6 things you might have to write. You have to write 2 of them. They're both, like I said, they're both worth 20 marks, so spend the same amount of time on each. It's a page and a half to 2 pages, so you've got average size handwriting. It's 300 to 400 words. It doesn't really matter which text you get because the goal of each is the same, to persuade the reader to agree with you. Things to improve for grade 3 students. Answers were too short. Okay, so this sort of image here is meant to demonstrate that these 2 people actually have the same stat of English, but just because that person got to the word count, they went up a couple of grades. So it's really important you do at least a page and a half. Students didn't plan their writing, missing out a question, and people didn't check for errors at the end. Like I said, word count does make a difference. If you need more word count, try to do anecdotal writing. So maybe tell a little story which is relevant to the question, or at least pretend a story. These are the 4 things you need to improve. So planning, like I say, you need to know what you're going to write before you start writing. You probably will get a mark for your plan. So there you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you've got the 5 paragraphs. This is what we don't want with our paragraphs, 1 point per paragraph. Don't want lots of big points in a big chunk. That is what we're looking for. You don't have to write that much, but it's nicely separated into 5 different paragraphs. So here is your plan for each question. Doesn't matter what tasks you get. Intro, conclusion, 3 main points. So this was a question about, is the internet all good or bad? So in my intro and conclusion, I'm going to say what side of the argument I'm on, and then 3 separate reasons why what proved my point. So tip 2, write a great intro, no more than 2 sentences. In the first sentence, use some of the exam question for help. In your second sentence, be clear which side of the argument you're on, but don't give your reasons. And if you're pushing for higher, try to use maybe some of dress or use a colon. Here's an example. Dear news, blah, 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 blah. So here's if you need to pause the video, pause the video. This is in my first sentence, I've used the exam question, and in my blue, I've said what side of the argument I'm on. Like I said, if you want to push yourself, try to use a bit of dress. Here's a rhetorical question or a colon. So pause the video if you want to look in more detail. Here is an example of a good intro, and here's a couple of bad ones where they're not following the rules that have been set. Okay, so use dress. So you might have done this at school with the forest, so try to use these throughout your tasks. If you want to pause the video, here's an example. But basically in this paragraph, I've used all of dress. And improve basic SPAG. So the things you're going to need to get a grade 4 or above are these. So it is sort of the basic punctuation. But if you don't do the basic punctuation, you can't even get out the lowest box for SPAGs. It's really important. The main offender is run-on sentences. So here on the left, this is what we want. Short, medium, and longer sentences. On the right, we've just got 1 huge sentence. And like I said, the main one is run-on sentences, where you've got 2 sentences together with either no punctuation or incorrect. So I hate this movie, comma. It's so boring. So don't just shove in a comma. It's either a connective, like because or so or and, or it's a full stop. If in doubt, always think to yourself, is this comma needed? Okay, like I said. So again, the one at the top is wrong with run-on sentences. The one at the bottom has got all the sentences correct. This would probably jump from a grade 3 to a grade 5 pretty easily. Try to use topic sentences in your central paragraphs. So if I did a plan about the internet, here are my 3 points I'm going to make in my main paragraphs. That would be a bad run-on topic sentence, and that would be a good topic sentence. So make your first line of your first topic sentence of your paragraphs, make them nice and short. Okay, there we go. So for both tasks, try to persuade the reader to agree with you. Use sentence starters and 5 paragraphs. And what I will do is, if you want to pause the video, feel free to pause to look at the structure. Like I said, you're going to write them mainly in the same way. Try to persuade the reader to agree with you. In the bottom here is all SPAG. Try to proofread that. But write your things to remember. Finish both questions. Do your word count. They're both worth 20 marks. 5 paragraphs on each question. Keep sentences shorter than 3 lines on a word page. Do your plans at the top of the page to get a mark. Use sentence starters and use some of dress if you can. Feel free to pause any of the video and go back and make notes. Good luck in your exams.